All right, we're gonna get started. Today's topic, what's the topic today, Mark?
I guess it's how to find deals. That's what everybody wants to know, right? Where do we get all these awesome real estate deals that are just laying around everywhere? Good evening, everyone. If you didn't happen to see, for once in like 12 years, thanks to our good friend John, we've got food. So, and lots of it, like salad for the healthy people, donuts for me, like just all kinds of good stuff in there. Thanks to our friend John. We'll say hello in just a second, but thank you all for coming out. This is Grid, CAZA, Reston, and Herndon. And what's the thing say we're doing here? Raleigh, we've got all kinds of fancy slides.
Yeah, so
Right,
how to find deals.
All right.
We're gonna talk about Grid first a little bit.
Yep. What is this besides free food?
So yeah, what is Grid? Who's here for the first time ever? Good amount, awesome. So Grid is a real estate investment network led by investors, for investors. We have monthly meetings every month, a different topic that we cover. We start beginning of the year on everything that's about sweat equity that goes into the work, more around wholesaling. And as we go, we get more into the complicated stuff towards the end of the year. So our Grid Reston chapter here is first Tuesday of every month. Today is the first Tuesday of the month. And then also once a month, we have introduction to real estate investing that we hold. I will talk about that a little bit later. But we have about 30 some chapters nationally. Yeah, and this is our Reston chapter. So welcome. If this is your first time, welcome. If you've been here many, many times, welcome. Anything else on that?
Nope, we've got pizza at the front of the room and books and tapes at the back. If anyone wants to buy our book and tape tonight only. No, sorry, none of that garbage. We're not here to sell you anything. We're just here to give you all the information that we've got. We're not gurus, not professional teachers. Not just up here to listen to ourselves speak, though we actually get a lot of business from this activity. So that's why we're here, and we'll clue you into how you can get a lot of business from it too. We're just here kind of talking about how this business works for us, and hopefully it will work for you. I know it will, because I've met Rob in this room like 14 years ago, and we've been doing it for 14 years because it works for us. And Sloan, yeah, what do you got?
So just a quick question.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, there's a thing, but I don't know what it is. I think that was just a forced acronym. Grid just is it's a connected thing, right? You think like power grid, a network grid, a grid of people. It's like it's meshing and coming together and having a thing be a little bit more powerful than
I forgot the R, otherwise. Grow your database and network.
So.
Forgot the R. Invest in people, invest in deals and relationships.
All right.
And I forgot the D2.
I don't know. That was not as important. We'll talk about a fun acronym in a second, but if you've got a fun like thing that you think GRID can stand for, dude, let me know. We'll cut you in for extra donuts if we end up using it. But it doesn't have an intentional meaning beyond just the connectedness of people. So that's what we're here to do, right? We're here to connect people, collaborate, learn, chat. This is a collaboration. This is a discussion. At any point in time, raise your hand, shout, say that's complete bullshit, whatever you want. It's fine. Not going to get offended. This is meant to be a discussion. The other reason I do this is I learn a heck of a lot more than I teach about how stuff works. There are a lot of people that come to these that do a lot of different things besides what we do and the way we do it. So everybody's here to learn from everybody, right? This is truly a discussion. If at any point you want to know what does that mean, other than the name of the thing, I might be able to tell you. So don't sit on any questions. You sit on your hands. Let's talk back and forth about whatever it is we're talking about. So that's kind of the mission. Yeah, investors all experience levels, right? We'll probably have some people in the room that maybe haven't done a deal before, a couple of people who only do this for a living, and maybe all points in between. That's okay. Everybody has to start from the exact same place. We're all here to do more of whatever it is we're doing now, even if more is the first one. First one's always the scariest, right? Oh my God, they said yes. Now what? Everybody's done that. We're here to try to hopefully move you a little bit further along the chessboard or the Monopoly board or whatever it is the game we're playing. And the game we're playing for where we're going, just in case you want to check in another, let's give us 30 days. We'll have 1,000 of these communities led by 2,000 people, typically groups of a couple that run our individual communities, and 10,000 people who only do.
We're at
real
30,
estate.
so 30 more days, we're at 1,000.
That's good. I like that ramp. That's good on ramp. 100,000 millionaires, that'll be easy to do. And 1 million members, we're chugging along well on the way to that. Coast to coast. So that'll be fun. All right. So who are we and what are we doing? I'm Mark Beckett. I have been running this event in this place roughly the first Tuesday of roughly every month for about the last 14 years. With predominantly Rob Chevez, who runs the CAZA Group, who we'll talk about for a second. I focus on investments in construction. I have interest in a construction company. I believe I might have somebody here that can chat with anyone who's interested about our construction services. We do work for agents and sellers to get homes ready to list. I flip houses, sellers can flip houses too. It's the exact same process. We'll do it for you, because I can do it for ourselves. And buy rental properties, obviously do renovations, we do some hard money lending. I think a hard money partner is here tonight. And that's kind of generally what I get up to. Ali, what about you?
My name is Ali Davar. I'm with the CAZA Group on the real estate side of things. I'm an agent. I help investors, builders, developers. I help figure out difficult problems, right? I solve difficult problems for our clients. I've been attending GRID for several years. This is the first year that I'm leading the GRID chapter here at Reston, so I'm super excited about it. And at CAZA, besides construction and real estate side of things, we have a hard money lending company, we have a wholesaling company, we have a property management company. But we have a different property manager in the room today that we want to talk about tonight. So John, you want to get up here real quick?
Let's start with Mr. John, who sponsored our group this evening. I'm telling you, for the people who are here for the first time, this is like a first in 12 years. In fact, they got something neat. Yeah.
Been a minute. You do a good December show, though.
Well, December's a little bit. But say hello, John.
Hello, everybody. My name is John. As Mark said, I've been coming to CAZA and GRID for about 10 years now. Known Mark and Ali and Rob for a long time, as well as many people in the room. I personally invest as well, so always happy to look at deals. But my day-to-day, if you will, is property management. Like Ali said, we run PMI Fairfax. It's a property management company in Northern Virginia, commercial and residential. So it can be a 1 unit or up to a $10 million building. It's all the same to us. We certainly run it and manage it for you guys. And while I was thinking about it, grow your network, relationships transform lives, invest in people and assets, and develop the leadership.
Thank you.
We directly pulled from the internet, but must be the actual thing.
Yes.
Well, good. Whoever came up with that, it's a really good thing. I just named the baby. Somebody else gives it me. Well, thank you.
Please get as much food as you want, because if you don't eat it, I have to bring it home to my own children and we'll devour it. So, and they love donuts. Please take as much as you want, enjoy it. If you have any questions or anything like that about me or what we do, of course, just reach out. My card's over there. I've got plenty of them too. Been investing for over a decade. So I like to say I haven't seen it all, but I've seen a lot. And I'm happy to share any of the knowledge I've got.
And you've managed property for me for over 7 or 8 years. Yep. And that's part of that is, I don't know. I can't remember. Once a year, statements come in, money got made. I do literally nothing. That's what property management does for you. I got other things I'm supposed to be doing with my day besides dealing with tenants and toilets and checking the rent and harassing people and other stuff. Let somebody whose only job that is deal with that kind of thing for you. That is the best kind of investment real estate, the kind where it's mailbox money that just shows up in the account, right? Somebody else deals with all the annoying stuff. So that's what John does for me. Thank you very much. As much for that as for the free pie, but I'll take that too.
We've got about 450 offices around the entire country, as well as also in Barbados, of all places.
Wow.
They put it on my no.
What do you call somebody from Barbados?
Anybody?
Bookie, we talked about this last week.
Oh, barbarians?
A barbecue.
And pretty much in every region. Yeah, it's fun. But definitely got lots of guys.
Thank you again, John. We appreciate it.
Thank you, John.
All right. So
You want to go around the way?
That's who's responsible for the food. What do you think for a head count? Do we have time for everybody to say hello?
Yeah, so we're gonna do a quick introduction, 15 seconds, 30 seconds max, everybody introducing themselves. What do you do? What are you looking for here in this room? Just give us a quick introduction to yourself. Let's start back there with Dan.
Hi, my name is Dan. I'm the state agent. I work with CAZA Group. I work with CAZA agent. I really like meeting term rentals. I work with a lot of investors. Oh, we have a podcast. We would like to get some visibility in our area. Chat with us. We'd love to have you on. If it touches any kind of wealth building related to real estate, then you're.
Awesome, thank you. Elise?
There you go. Short and sweet.
Coleman?
Guys, my name's Coleman. I work with Olympus Mortgage, a mortgage lender, but I've been investing in real estate for about 2 years, done a couple of rentals, couple of flips. Got one under contract that I'm curious to talk to people about selling. And working on a little bit of money, through some big ones as well.
We'll give you 30 extra seconds since you have a deal. Anything we need to know, just the brief hits about your deal. What do you got? Where is it?
Yeah, so a single family in Alexandria, about 1,500 square feet, close to Mount Vernon, very, very close to Mount Vernon, the hospital up there. Needs some work for sure, but solid value built into it, so.
You might consider wholesaling that contract for the right price.
I would. I'm also considering keeping it myself, but I would sign it for the right price.
There you go. Deals in the room. We're only on the second person to say hello.
So everybody jump Coleman at the end.
It's gonna be a good night. Hello.
Hello, everybody. My name is Tim Otto. I've been to a couple of these meetings over the last year or so. And just a budding investor here to build a team. Right now I have a condo in Silver Spring. I'm paying about Airbnb.
Awesome.
Anybody talking?
Welcome.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mary. I am a new investor. I do currently have one long-term rental property, but I'm also interested in wholesaling, short-term rental partnerships.
Awesome. So when people introduce themselves, pay attention to who you want to connect to at the end, because at the end of this, we're going to do some networking, right? Everybody's going to talk to each other. So pay attention to who you want to talk to. So.
Rick Boswell, I'm an agent with Keller Williams, also the broker of the Arlington office. Been in business about 20 years, dabbled off and on in investing and really getting ready to really get into it.
Hello, my name is Julie Bellum. I finance by day, new real estate investor by night. So working on my real estate license, but more interested in the design, fixing, and eventually building. Yeah. So awesome. If you get any design questions, I'm your person.
Awesome.
My name is Amar, a realtor with Keller Williams. Currently moved to this office. Just trying to learn about investment. No experience first time.
Welcome.
I'm Stephanie Callahan. I'm broker and co-owner of the Team West Homes Real Estate Brokerage based in Leesburg. First time here. 3 properties, 2 in Blacksburg, College Town, and 1 here in Ashburn, but kind of just did it. And didn't know what it was.
Oh,
That's the way pretty much everybody did. You figure it out, right?
you're in the right place.
Right quick. Yeah, hi.
Christopher Butters is certainly got some knowledge, so I would scare.
Awesome.
That's what it's all about. All right, we're gonna keep everybody in the code. Go back to the back. Yes, sir. Say hello.
Mike Rosner, I'm an engineer and realtor. I have one office in Pennsylvania.
Awesome.
Hello.
Jennifer Hoskins, I'm with the Gateway Office, Keller Williams, top producer. I sit on dollars board of directors, and I've been an investor since 1994.
Awesome.
Oh,
The other Jennifer?
Hi, I'm Jennifer Shaw, also at Keller Williams on Gateway. Been an agent for 9 years, and I'm looking to start my investment experience and like to do something like that.
Awesome. Welcome. So.
So reason I'm a Reston realtor, been Reston for the last 19 years and 6 companies. I've seen rental company Reston. Particularly curious these days about learning more about subject to use.
Awesome. Sir.
I'm Martin. By day, I'm an accountant in development accountant in a commercial real estate company. By night, I'm a real estate investor. I'm about 7 properties in foreign country. I used to have 300 properties here in Alexandria. I already did like about 7 or 8 weeks. And if anyone is interested, I have a property that's on the market with a townhouse. Group one, couple in Alexandria. Venue, very good for them. Or for someone who wants.
Awesome. Everybody jump him at the end too. Ma'am?
We'll go to you.
Sorry, okay. I'm Judy, this is my husband Todd, I know he's not here. So I'm also a realtor, seems to be the theme of the night, with Real Broker over in Ashburn. Well, technically plain, I guess. And we've had investment properties for quite a few years now, just one at a time generally. So looking now, would like to find something, maybe a short-term rental, explore that avenue. Looking for opportunities there, how to find that.
Awesome. Lovely. Thank you, Judy. Anything, Todd?
No, good.
No, Todd says ditto.
Mhm.
Good enough. Hello.
Hi everyone, I am Ranga. I am a part-time realtor, started my career in the wonderful time when COVID hit. I am also working for SEC. I am just learning where to focus my attention, so I'm dabbling in everything and just wanted to get some more information about investing to see if it is something that can fit me.
Awesome. Ma'am?
Hi, everyone. My name is Jamie Banks. I invest in medium-term rentals in Philadelphia. And actually I recently quit my job last Friday. I'm trying to. Glad people here don't think I'm crazy like the family, but to transition to full-time real estate investing, and I'm also opening a property management company for furnished rentals. So if you need any furnished rentals to manage, reach out.
Thank you. Welcome. We're saying hello.
Hello. Hi, I'm Sean and I'm an investor. I'm not a realtor. And I focus on creative real estate deals. And my strength is in deal finding and finding deals and then wholesaling them. So I work in a couple different states. This is my part-time job, but I want to make it full-time and be so that we can be at Starbucks at like 10 o'clock in the morning and not stress out, right? And so I focus on Virginia, West Virginia, Florida, and Ohio.
Cool. Awesome.
Oh. Hi.
Hello, sorry, a little late. I'm Olga Roberts. A few things about me, my primary job, I'm a mortgage loan officer with Truist Bank. Looking for any $1 million loans to purchase primary homes or second vacation homes. I can also support some investment properties if you're looking to purchase and hold. I'm also a real estate investor, so can offer my experience and share with others how I got started. Also kind of interested in private lending. So that's a few things about me. So please, I would love to share my experience and help you to be successful.
Awesome. Thank you, Olga.
Good to see you.
Hello, my name is Scott Hollick, first time here, pretty new to the East Coast. I'm a creative producer. I specialize in large scale architectural projection mapping. So basically big light art, we light up buildings around the world. Most of my real estate investing has been very passive with developers in California. And so as I'm out here into a new area, I'm interested in growing, being a little more active than just, giving money to the big developers, but it's worked well in the past, so I'm excited to learn more about it.
Cool. Scott?
Okay, also Scott Thompson. So I'm just in the life transition. I'm in the Army right now. We're getting ready to retire after a very long period of time. Aspiring realtor here and aspiring real estate investor. And I am in the market for something I want a house at. That's like personally for me going into investing. So either a multifamily or something big enough where all the rooms -2 is less than what an apartment would have for. So if you have any leads, I'm looking.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool, Sherry.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Cherie with Simply Funded. We are hard money lenders. We lend within a 50-mile radius of this office right here. So if you're looking for money for your fix and flips or your burst strategies, I'm your girl, simplyfunded.com.
Awesome. Woo.
And we'll do a little follow-up, since it's mainly related to that entity and it serves me a little bit. Sherry,
Yes.
you gotta have minimum like 775 credit to get a loan?
You do not.
No?
You have to have a minimum 660
Okay.
credit score, and we do loan based on the loan to value of the property. Sorry.
And based on experience, you need to have done at least 50 deals before we'll give you money?
No, you can actually be on your very first deal and still get funding from us. We're one of the few hard money lenders that will lend to a first timer.
Awesome.
And so lending, like I said, within about 50 miles or so
50 miles of this office right here.
something easy to kind of understand, keep our eyes on, make sure everybody's doing what they're supposed to do, everything's copacetic, everybody's gonna make money. That's the goal, right? Everybody makes money.
Yes.
Do we make all the money or no?
No, we
We
want
let the
you
investor
to
make
make the money as the investor.
How about that?
And you are looking at one of our head underwriters over here as well, so of your deal. So actually,
I
we're
bless
really
everything.
great. It's really great because you'll have a second set of eyes on your numbers, your contract numbers, your purchase price, all of that. So we're not your enemy. We're here to actually make sure that you are going to walk away, hopefully with some profit.
This is Professor Bex, that's what we call him, because when you send him a simple question, what do you think about this deal? You get this whole analyst. Oh, okay, I didn't look at it from all that angle, but that's a great thing. Ma'am,
Hi, I'm Cheryl Handak. I'm a realtor with Redfin. I've been in the business for a number of years locally, born and raised here, and finally getting into investing, though I did do some in the past. With a few little fix and flips and a few small rentals. And I'm looking to maybe JV a partner with people and run my life a different way than having to work my butt off like I've been doing.
you are in the right place.
Word.
That's what we're here for, all to do.
Gee,
Tim, following the theme, I'm a realtor here in Virginia, recently certified with Grid, with the ACE assessor. Looking for deals, so I have 4 property.
that's right.
Yeah, on that note, Grid has a, for real estate agents, a certification program where you can go through. You want to talk about that real quick?
Sure, Grid Agent Investor. It is a certification program, which means it involves a little bit of testing and quizzing. But mostly it's the kind of thing that we're talking about here, just a bit more of a fire hose over the course of about 7 weeks. And it involves some smaller mastermind groups where we can sit and chop this stuff up a little bit further and talk about our documents and how stuff works and how we avoid getting into trouble when we need to. But mostly it's to make sure that every realtor out there or person who's involved in agency at least understands how investment works. It just makes me sick to hear about people working for decades to make other people wealthy. You're in this business. You should all own a portfolio of passive income properties that let you quit whenever you want, right? We should work because we love what we're doing, not because you feel like you're making a payment on something. So that's what we talk about. We talk about how the business works from an investment standpoint, so that if you have investor clients, you'll work with them better. So that if you have an interest in becoming an investor yourself,
I don't think so.
you'll just informed enough to be dangerous and go out and get started, right? And then you buy a thing and like, well, now what do? You figure it out is what you do. That's what we all did. But that's what we want for all of our agent friends, is to be educated enough to feel dangerous and go out and get dirty and get something done in the business. So that's what happens. If you want to find out a little bit more about that, give us a shout. We'll talk about it.
Cool. Bookie? We're gonna go a little bit faster if you don't
Yeah.
mind. So we'll skip Bookie. Janae?
We have a Grid certified agent investor with the CAZA Group right here in this office. And I help people protect their generational wealth when they're downsizing. So I'd love to meet people that deal with 1031 exchanges, DSTs. And if you're an estate attorney or a financial advisor or no one or a CPA, I'd love to meet them.
Awesome. I love that introduction. Janae?
Hi, everybody. I'm Janae Cheek. I am a Grid agent investor here in this office as well. Licensed in DC, Maryland, and Virginia, but mainly working in DC.
Awesome.
Hi guys, I'm Michelle Cook. I'm a CAZA agent by day and a CAZA agent by night as well. Maryland, Virginia, and starting to work with investors on some creative financing. Come see us at this table. We've got some deals working, so if you're into some too, or anything like that, come see it.
You want to talk about your top 2 deal real quick right now?
Yes, Cheverly, Maryland. I've got a single family home right now, looking for a sub-2 buyer. Yeah, come see me. I'll tell you a little bit more about it.
So long jump on it.
Yeah.
Say,
I'm Sam, and I'm an investor and realtor with Keller Williams. Started out investing before the crash and got my license in 2013. So been Keller Williams for 10 years. I work with a lot of investors right now, and I'm here to grow personally in terms of ideas, network, and find opportunities to play.
awesome.
Hi, everybody. I would say by day, I'm a scientist. I work in the federal government. Just want to start, know how to handle money and pretty much I'm here to invest. So I'm here to learn.
Awesome. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Phelan. I just drove 40 days across country, moving from Los Angeles. Got here like 2 days ago. With my 8-month-old and touch. And so I was an agent in LA. I have my license here, but I haven't found it with anybody. I'm going through case mortgage, sub-2, seller finance, and suffering from shiny object syndrome right now. So trying to pare it down, but definitely trying to mostly buy investments for our family for long-term hold. Kind of trying to decide whether I'll go more wholesale agent, all of the above. So you'll hear more from me than that.
Awesome. Mike?
Thanks.
Mike, I'm a great certified agent investor. I primarily work with newer investors, specifically people looking to house hack. About half of my business is specific to house hack. Yeah, Mike.
Awesome. Sir?
Hi, my name is Carlos Fernandez. I'm part of the Home Group Investment Group, and other partners here. We do buy homes here in Northern Virginia. We're also breaking into the midterm rental game in Nova and Baltimore. So if you're interested, or if you have any rentals that are coming up and it can be vacant, please talk to us. We'd love to recommend stuff.
Awesome.
How's it going? Jorge, nice to meet everyone. Almost kind of summed it up. I'm a partner in Home Group. By day consultant, I also want to quit my job, so let me know. And yeah, just really excited to be coming from everybody.
Awesome.
All Gabbard operating, by day, also consultant, part of the Home Group group. Really excited to be here. Been coming here for about 5 or 6 months. So excited to network with you guys. And also looking for my job.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Perfect. So let's quickly go over the people we missed, ma'am, back there. Yeah.
Hello. Anybody?
I need to Melissa.
Just
That's it.
one.
Hello, you got some deals for us? That's all right.
Nice.
4 units, so I'm going through it, but currently trying to look into.
Awesome. Wow, that's awesome.
Hello, everybody. I'm Ronald. Right now I'm in the military right now, but I'm kind of transitioning out and be a financial advisor on the outside. But I'm just here to learn more about real estate.
Awesome. Perfect. Sir?
Hey, my name is Michael. I just moved to Virginia from Houston, Texas. I got my license in December. Some experience that I've had with investors is that they don't know anything about real estate, so that's my experience. So I'm gonna learn, network, and just get to know Virginia as.
Welcome.
And. Check out. Yeah, no, you got it. Last but not least, sharpest man in the front.
My name is Rashid Mohammed. I'm a newly licensed agent in Virginia. So, and I am here to educate myself on investing.
Awesome.
Nice to meet you guys.
All right, so this is probably how we're gonna have to shift to do this in the future, so we'll take it for a test run tonight.
Got one more.
Who we got? Who we missed? Who didn't get started? Oh, coming in.
So you wouldn't notice me.
Yeah, I ain't gonna notice you.
Thomas Ward just moved to Alexandria, thanks to Mike's help. Just moved in last weekend. Roller coaster, but making that. And was living out in Front Royal, have a Airbnb in Luray. So come do some Airbnb out there and then house out now.
So good to be here and learn. Thank you.
Good to see you.
See you all one more.
Oh, Javi, yes.
I'm Javier, second time here in this meetup. By day, I work for Amazon, helping make sure you all get your packages. And I'm trying to put my job like those guys over there. To make my first deal, interested in finding deals here locally in Reston. And also out west in like Front Royal, Culpeper, that area is where I'm looking to find deals.
Awesome.
Cool. And then just for our wrap up, show of hands, who in the room is an agent, is a kind of licensed type of agent, right? Great. Who in the room has a deal that they would be interested in selling, partnering, looking for a buyer for, anything that's for sale? Okay, everybody look, these people have a thing that they might have for sale. Who in the room has money that they might lend or partner with to someone or connect them to money? There's money in the room, right? All right, that's the point. It wasn't just a slick way to get rid of half an hour. Geez, all right, next time we'll shorten that up. We'll probably do it that way, but the point is we want you to know that there's money in this room, there's deals in this room, there's partners in this room, there are people in this room who all they do is talk to people about real estate all day long, right? I have not had to do much of anything. Spoiler alert, we're about to talk about prospecting, networking, and marketing. I've had to do anything but this to earn a living for a long, long time. It'll work for you too. Just talk to other people in this room. We're going to talk about a thing. We'll hang out for a little bit after, eat whatever hasn't been eaten in the way of pizza and donuts, and then just mingle. Talk to people about what they do. If somebody had a deal, like Coleman's got a house in Alexandria, I'm probably gonna go talk to him about that, right? You probably should too. First one to the deal usually gets it. So do those things, network, follow up. That's where the money is, and staying in touch with people. And at the end, if you don't anybody else talk to us. But don't talk to me about, this is for the brokers and lawyers in the room. Don't talk to me about financial advice. It's not financial advice, right? We're not attorneys. We're just people who do stuff in real estate, and we're willing to talk about it. But do your own due diligence about anything you talk to anybody about anytime involved in any kind of doing of a deal. All right, so we're talking about how to get deals, right?
Yeah.
And
So this is the slides changed 2 hours before we started this, but we know how to find deals. So we're just gonna look at the slides, but we're gonna talk about finding deals, right?
right. Which, as everybody knows, is super easy, right? There's plenty of real estate deals just laying on the ground. Maybe not. If it was that easy, you probably wouldn't be here. But brace yourself. I'm not prepared to share any like secret sauce or magic beans or anything else about how you get stuff. This is going to be a kind of general business discussion because it's all the same: prospecting, networking, marketing. That's how everybody gets any kind of business anywhere. You either go out and hunt and get it, you ask somebody else to send you some, or you spend some money to put a message out there and hope somebody calls you and asks you about your thing, right? That's about it. That's how you get stuff. We're just going to talk about how you should think about going about the process of prospecting, networking, and marketing, right? And we do have a fun acronym to kind of keep track of that. But yeah, this is about lead generation. It's really not about deals. So I know we say topic is about how to find deals. Just forget that. But remove the word deal from your thought process. You're looking for opportunities. You're looking to help people. You're looking to get into discussions. You think about the business that way. And if you think, what can I do to help someone? What can I do to get into a conversation? What can I do to add more value to someone else? Think that way, frame what you do around those things, and then the rest of the stuff kind of falls into place, right? There is no magic script. There is no magic sauce. We just try to help people, and we help people through real estate in a couple of different ways.
And as you start, whatever business, whatever real estate entrepreneurship you're in, if you're a wholesaler, if you're a real estate agent, we're always trying to find out, like, learn everything I need to do. I need to know about that business. I'm an agent. I need to know the contract first. How do I help buyers and sellers? But nothing happens until you find the deal. So you got to go and do your lead gen, do your marketing and prospecting and networking to find the deal. Because once you find deals, you will also learn more. You will never know everything. Like, I think being a real estate agent, after a while, you realize I'm not new anymore. I just haven't seen this before. And I'm never going to see every deal that's ever is going to happen. At one point, you forget the mindset of I'm new, and you just learn that I'm going to learn as I go. So lead generation, finding a next deal or opportunity is really the most important thing.
I like that. And I think a lot of people spend too much time figuring, well, do I need to start a corporation or an LLC, or how many different layers of paperwork do I need? Where am I gonna find the contract? How am I gonna find the money? Where do I get a partner? Who's gonna renovate this thing? All of that stuff gets figured out. Focus on having discussions, talking to people, finding out how you can help, generate leads. Everything else can be figured out. In fact, I will give you everything else you need. Find somebody that has a house to sell. Let's talk about it. Everything else can get figured out. So focus on leads. So what is this? Important that you are purposeful. Yeah, don't waste a lot of time on like trying to figure out how it's going to run and how you're going to set it up. And education is great. We believe in education. We give education. We sell education. But you don't need a PhD in this stuff. You just need to get into some conversations with some people and find out how you can help them, right? And that's where our deals kind of generally come from.
And one thing you mentioned earlier, like there is no silver bullet. Like the most important thing that we should learn tonight is the consistency of the activities that we're doing, the focus that we have around, hey, this is the area we're going to focus on. We're going to talk a little bit later about a couple of methods that we have to help us figure out what we're looking for and stay focused on them. But now it's about ignoring the shiny object. It's about staying focused, and this is what I do. This is what I look for. And every day I'm going to wake up and go deeper in that, because that's when I'm going to find more opportunities versus a little bit of this and a little bit of that, right? So we're going to be very purposeful about the business plan that we have, about how we're, you know, whether it's a wholesaling, fixing, flipping, or an agent, where I'm focusing.
Right? So how are we going to focus? Great predictable opportunities and revenue. Yeah, we zone is how we're going to focus, right? And that's an actual acronym. I think we actually can describe what that one is, right? What are we talking about when we say we're going to zone this thing?
So zone stands for Z. I'm going to tell you real quick: zero in your market target, own the mind share and market share, network and nurture, expand and growth was the E. We changed it to, we'll see what it is. So start with Z. Zero in on your target market. So when we started, some of you, like Olga mentioned, hey, I am a lender. I focus on primary residents with $1 million or secondary. That's a very targeted thing I'm looking for. If you're that, come talk to me, right? That is zeroing on your on what you're looking for. The more you're specific, the more people will think of you as that person and come to you and refer business to you. So we look at it as, in our business, as really two types of things that we're focusing on: geographically or psychographically. Want to talk about that?
Sure. So geographically, fairly straightforward. Pick an area, right? Yeah, I guess theoretically you can be an investor everywhere, but I don't really know exactly what's going on in Doha or Omaha or I don't know, something else that ends in ha. But I kind of get rested and I kind of understand Herndon and I know a fair bit about generally DC Metro because I've been here for a little while. I have some interest in Florida because I spent some time down there. So I keep an eye on some markets that happen down in that part of the world. And I know some people who are in some other places that if something came up, I know somebody who knows some stuff about a thing. But thinking geographically, what you probably ought to be thinking of is, well, what do I know? Anything can work anywhere. There are very few other than Superfund sites, and that even has a niche where you can make money in this country in real estate, right? But if you're going to say, well, the market's really expensive in DC, so I want to buy flip properties in Nashville. Great, but you're then going to have to understand Nashville, right? That has its own geography and traffic and demographics and income patterns and population growth, competition, a market segment, it already exists there, right? So those are the things that you're going to have to know. You can invest anywhere, but I suggest that if you're going to do it, at least think about where in the world you can have some better knowledge than not, so that when an opportunity presents itself, you kind of can understand it, right? So that's geographic market focus. What is psychographic market focus?
Psychographic is really specializing in a type of problem or a type of segment of the market that you're going after. For example, if I'm a real estate agent, I might want to help first-time home buyers or first-time investors. If I'm somebody who is like wholesaling, I'm going to go in Reston, but I'm also going to focus on people that either have high equity or maybe like they're struggling. Like you can get very specific on what psychographic market you're focusing on. And then the more you do that, one, you become an expert. Second, they get to know you as that person, right? If I'm a first time, like if I'm as a real estate agent focusing on helping first time investors, then everything I'm gonna go and do is gonna relate to that, right? So I'm gonna give you an example. When we do our business plan at the beginning of the year, you look at the activities that I'm going to do, right? So I was gonna do a first time homebuyer seminar, and I said, well, I'm gonna work with investors. Why am I doing a first time homebuyer seminar? What if I do the first time investor seminar? That really stays within the same vertical of helping investors, right? I could just change the message. I could just change a little bit, tweak what I'm focusing on. Majority of it is the same thing, right? But now I'm going deeper in what I'm doing, and it helps me stay focused.
Another thing that a psychographic market does for you is help you understand what problem you're solving. Remember, we're trying to get into discussion. We're trying to discuss what problems we can solve through real estate. That's psychographics. So absentee landlords. Maybe if you want to acquire BRRRR property, buy, renovate, rent, refinance, and repeat, right? If you would like to do that, one good target to perhaps try to find deals from is a landlord who's not happy with their wanted to be BRRRR, but now has a bunch of broken stuff and an annoying tenant who doesn't pay on time, and a bunch of other problems that John probably could have saved them from, but they didn't know any better. Now they're upset, right? And they want to get rid of this thing. That is a psychographic market. Tired of tenants and toilets? Give me a call. Know anybody who's a landlord that's having a really rough time with the property and getting kind of annoyed? I actually love helping people like that. Have them give me a call. Think that way. And then, ooh, now layer it. Now we can have a psychographic and a geographic. Sloan is a buy and hold investor in Reston, right? So the same thing, same time to everybody everywhere. Now I'm thinking, if I come across a property in Reston that might make some sense for somebody who wants to buy and hold for a while, I'll bet Sloan might be interested in it. That's reticular activation. The more specific you are with what you do and who you help, when that person comes along, they'll think of you. I'm a real estate investor. Great, so is everybody else. I'm a real estate investor who only wants townhouses in Herndon that I can fix up because they're messed up and they got moldy basements, and I'm going to rent it out. And if it's already moldy and owned by somebody who's annoyed with having to rent it out, I can probably help them. Now, maybe the next time you're driving through Herndon, you see a ratty old house, or one of your buddies has a house that they've been renting out in Herndon for 15 years. Like, man, I'm about to retire. This is driving me nuts. Oh, what that dude Beck say? He may be interested in Herndon. Hey, please give me a call. I would love to talk to those people, right? Be specific. Think about who you can help. Is it a mom and pop warehouse owner? Did you want to get into flex or storage units? Or are you just going to be a wholesaler? You just want to talk to people about getting property under contract if you can assign that contract to somebody else. Know what your market is. You have to zero in on it before you can own it, right? Develop your value prop. So that's who you're going to help, right? How you're going to help. We help by getting landlords out from under properties that they're not interested in anymore. We help home sellers who have properties that have problems that probably ought to be bought by investors for cash, where you really don't want to deal with home inspections and financing contingencies and termite inspections and all that other stuff. Don't worry about any of that. We'll buy it for cash. We can close in a couple of weeks. Your problem goes away, right? That has resonance with people who that will help. Most people say, no, I don't need to work with most people. I want to hear from those couple of people that may come into my sphere that have that condition who I can help. Be specific. That's how you get people to think of it.
The more you go deeper on your zone, right? If I'm really figuring out what is it a geographical area or a psychographic area? One, as Mark said, people will remember me as that, right? Second, I will become a better expert. I become more valuable. I can help people better, and therefore more business drives from it. A lot of times where people think of complicated investment deals, they'll think of CAZA, because that's through Grid. We've been doing that for over a decade. Where they think of Gainesville, Virginia, they think of Matt, one of our agents that like is just geographically focusing on one thing and one thing only, right? And a lot of times we feel like if I say no to all of these opportunities, I'm actually like losing, right? Versus every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else, right? That's the killer way I'm saying. We know that. But that means the more I'm going to focus here, the larger my world becomes. If I focus on a smaller area, I can develop a much larger business. And by the way, I can have a better lifestyle if I'm just not moving around too much. not driving everywhere chasing business, I can control that better versus I'm gonna go everywhere, I'm everything to everybody. So a lot of times we go a mile wide and an inch deep. What I want you to really focus on, consistency over time. I'm gonna go really deep and I'm gonna keep doing this thing every day, every month, forever, right? Meaning, if you send a postcard to entire Fairfax County one time, nothing will happen. But if you send a postcard once a month to like one neighborhood, you'll make a lot of money, right? So think of how can I go deeper rather than how can I just do a larger segment.
That'll come up in a minute. All right, build your brand. That's what you say, how you look, who you are to the world, right? Develop a message around who you are looking to help. That will come up in a second when we start talking about marketing. What else we got?
Yeah. So real quick on this. So if developing your value proposition is what is it that I'm actually helping people do? What is it I'm fixing, right? As a wholesaler, I'm helping people get people out of difficult situations, right? Now you explain to them how you do that. Hey, I do this for money. Here's how it works. As an agent, same thing. As a fix and flipper, same thing. Figuring out and staying consistent with it over time is important. And building a brand around the problem you're solving. Oh, is own the mind share and the market share, right? Some of the things we talk about.
So then owning the mind share is getting into the prospecting, networking, and marketing. So prospecting. Prospecting is active work. Making an offer. If there's a property listed somewhere you think it might make sense as a deal, make an offer on it. That actually still works. We just finished the renovation for an agent that we know right here in Reston that bought a ridiculous deal on a single family house. They paid $6. We put 70 maybe into it. It sold for $825. Not a bad day at the office. Listed property. It still actually happens. Talking to agents, driving around looking for sale by owners, knocking on doors. Not many people do that, by the way. You want to find yourself in a conversation with somebody that not a lot of people are doing. Find that sketchy, scary house and actually work up the gumption to go knock on the door. Don't tell them you're there to buy their house. Hey, I'm an investor. I love this neighborhood. I'm buying houses here. If you happen to know anybody that has a house that they might want to sell, I buy houses in any kind of condition. I pay cash. I can usually close pretty quick. I kind of make things easy for anybody. If you know somebody that kind of makes some sense for, here's my card. Let me know. Oh, really? So like you'd buy this house? Like, yes, even the house with the weeds growing out of the gutter and clearly all broken windows and a giant hole in the roof. Yes, I would actually buy this house too. Might you be interested in selling? Well, let's talk about it, right? Knock on doors. Every once in a while, we've gotten deals just knocking on doors and not saying we want to buy your ugly house, but just saying we're looking at buying houses in this neighborhood. If you know somebody, hint, you let me know, right? That's the actual trading your time for leads level. That's what prospecting is. You got to go do something personally to try to generate business. It works. It just takes time and effort by you, right? But it's a great way to start because it doesn't cost anything. It doesn't cost you anything but gas to drive around, find ugly houses, knock on the door, even if they don't answer, leave a business card. I buy houses for cash, just like that. It doesn't cost you anything to make offers. You don't need to know how to write the offer, but we can talk about that another time. But you actually doing activities prospecting. So that's that outbound work. All right. Build through networking. What does is there a slide that comes after that? So I'm not just rambling. There you go. Back one.
This is delayed a little bit.
All right. Networking. So this, right? What did I just say at the beginning? Want to know where to get deals and find money and get partners and do stuff? Come to things like this and tell other people it's the business you're in. From now on, no one here should be a hopeful investor. The next time you talk to anybody, you're going to tell them, I invest in this kind of real estate in this kind of area for this psychographic, right? I'm looking for landlords who are looking to get rid of their houses. I'm looking for homeowners with banged up ugly houses that need some work done. I'm looking for that old mom and pop storage facility holder out in Western Virginia that might be looking to retire. Whatever your thing is, tell people what your thing is, right? Don't keep it to yourself. And the more specific you are, the more they're likely to remember you and then reach out whenever that thing appears to them. They'll remember you, they'll contact you. All right. And the other thing about networking, you want to try to become a connector and bringer of value to other people, right? Nobody wants to hear the thing that you're looking for every day, right? Give more than you ask. Help more than you try to get help from other people. Just trust me, it works. There are a lot of people that maybe would present things the other way, just make a ton of offers, and eventually somebody will say yes. Yes, that works too, but I'm here to tell you, if you just tell as many people that you possibly can reach that this is the thing that you do, and if you ever want to talk about it, whether it's got any benefit directly to me or not, let's talk about it. I'm happy to tell you what I think about your deal, or how you should fund it, or how it can work, or how you should fix it up, or what you should be doing. Just get into the conversations, have conversations, be known as someone who is willing to talk about stuff and is helpful and is a value giver. And then don't be surprised if the phone rings and every once in a while an opportunity that you can take advantage of, right?
Yeah.
Giver's game.
So last month we went over how to build your dream team, and in that we talked about value selling, right? So if I add value to people, if I give them what they're looking for, right, I'm going to make a lot of money, right? So we had an example, somebody in this room that gained a lot of value from this room over the years, made a lot of money, once sold a house to us that, we flipped and made a lot of money. And there's a second one now that Mark, you and Rob just bought, right? Why is that person just like, take my house, right? I don't want to make the money, right?
Yeah, just ease of transaction and trust, and they know that we will do what we say that we'll do, and we're happy to help you do it yourself if you want. But if you don't want, of course, we're happy to buy property. That's also what we do. And just don't be surprised if you offer. Every once in a while, somebody would just say, man, make it easy. No, it's not going to be most people. Most people will do the work and they'll do the thing, and they'll hire a good agent like the CAZA Group to do all the good marketing, and they want to make every last dollar they can. That's fine too. But every once in a while, if you just be as helpful as you can possibly be, but make it clear that also, if you're interested in selling, of course, yes, I'm buying. Every once in a while, someone will say, you know what, just take it. And that's a relationship that got built for us over time, where this person knew we offered plenty of other alternatives. We will help you fix it up. We'll pay for it. Pay us at the end. Just buy it. Okay, great. And we'll take some risk. It'll probably work out, but we're taking a little bit more risk than we would if we just help this person do it. But it's how we've gotten an opportunity. So
if you add value to people, they want you to be successful too, right? So I saw this individual, like, he's like, yeah, I need to make this much money out of it. The rest is you guys. I'm like, what? Yep. This is not how you negotiate, but sure, I'll take it. But the reason is because they've gotten so much value from this relationship. Now they feel like they owe you, right? They're trying to help you out. All right, multiple through marketing. So I'm gonna let you do this, but everybody always goes there first, right? Like, I'm brand new, let me spend money. I want you to think of it like a business, and a business has a budget. If you don't have a revenue, you don't have a marketing budget. So you're gonna do all the free stuff first with prospecting and networking. Then we're gonna get into marketing once we have actually revenue coming in.
Yep. Marketing is leverage, right? So now I'm not going to go around door to door. I'm going to spend a couple of bucks and hope that I can craft a message that resonates with someone so that they will call me interested in the thing that I'm offering. The process is still the same. I still need to decide first who I am, who I'm going to help, what's my authentic voice, what will resonate with people who might know, like, and trust me. Then I can craft a message for, all right, well, what problem am I looking to solve? Who might have that problem? How can I get a message in front of them so that if they see it and the time is right, they may reach out and say, hey, I saw your thing, I heard your thing, I heard that you do X. What do you think, right? That's all marketing is. But to Ali's point, it's all a waste of your time, effort, and money if you haven't crafted a message, if you haven't done the work on the front end of figuring out who you are and who you can help, developing a budget so that when you start doing this, you can sustain it so that you are able to go deep and not wide and not plaster the world with your thing one time, only for it to just vaporize the next month. Marketing is a long-term grind game, right? Budweiser still markets. Everybody knows they're garbage, but they're still pushing it because it works. You keep the thing in front of people forever because in a sea of other alternatives, you want them to think of your thing. So marketing is a long-term thing. Once you start it, you really never stop. So that's why we talk about it last, because doing things like postcards and door hangers and getting a website and paying for Google AdWords and paying for Facebook Marketplace or Facebook AdSense or whatever the thing is, this stuff costs money. And so you have to have enough money to do it for a sustainable period of time. And to your point about going deep rather than wide, if you're going to spend money, first craft your message into something really narrow and start small. So before you run out and start doing radio ads, work on a postcard and see what kind of response you get from that. What good marketing is finding out what message works, doing what's called split testing, A/B testing, take a message, I buy houses, all cash, a yellow postcard, send it out. I buy houses in Herndon, put my little face on it, send that out. See what gets a better response. Always be testing, always be tweaking and seeing what gets a better response. And then when you find a thing that gets a decent response, okay, great. Now, how do I put a message that got a decent response up to a larger audience? We're building a sales funnel. Get books on ClickFunnels, get books on building funnels. ClickFunnels is a good website for learning how to build these kinds of things.
$100 million offer.
$100 million offer is a great book by Alex Mosley, talking about how to build these sales funnels with these messages that resonate, split testing them, and then taking the ones that work and then spreading them later. Anybody here ever heard of or heard the jingle from Express Home Buyers? Good buddy Brad Chandler. If you're watching the TV news between like 6:30 and 7 on most major networks in this area, he's got like 4 or 5 ads an hour. He is spending a lot of money on that, but he's done it after years and years of crafting that message, paying for a jingle that resonates in people's names, and he has a whole back end, taking all of those phone calls, sifting through the stuff that might make some sense, and then finding the deals out of that he can do. But you have to get to that point if you feel like you need to. That's a business that works because they built it to that scale, but it doesn't have to be done that way. We're plenty happy without spending like hundreds of thousands of dollars a month on that ad message. But whatever you do, don't just do it once. Make sure that you can afford to do it for long enough that it will work. The deal with marketing is you get like a 1% return on marketing, like a 1% open rate, a 1% response on a postcard. You're doing way, way better than the market average. 0.1% of return on just blanket sending stuff out there is what you can expect from the average marketing. So if your budget is $1,000, then I can do $100 a month for 10 months, $1,000 one time, or $10 for 100 days. Figure out what your budget's going to be. Find the thing that you can do for that amount of money for some period of time to see if it's going to work. So what I really hate to hear is that people are like, oh, well, I sent out $4,000 worth of postcards, so that's cool. How many did you send out this month? Well, none. I had $4,000. Like, okay, maybe, but the deal with marketing is it's there to be responded to when the person is ready. I can't tell you how many times we've been to appointments on the agent side, on the buy side, whatever it is. People called us, but like they called us from a stack of postcards, like our cards, other people's cards, like you just accumulate and accumulate and accumulate. And then when somebody's ready, they're finally like, all right, fine, the house is now about to fall down. I guess I need to do something. Who was that dude that had the thing is that he had like a funky name on the thing? I'll buy your stinky house. Find the old postcard and then they call. That's okay. That's what you're there for. You're there for the long game. You want to have enough postcards that have dropped off that when that person finally decides something's got to happen, that's when you want them to read your card, to open your letter, to hear your jingle, to hear your radio ad, whatever it is. Did Mike hear? No, we're running ads out in Front Royal, right? And he's starting to get pretty good response on some of the radio ads. But that takes time. You have to pay to have those things running for long enough that when somebody is finally ready, they hear you, they take action. So,
I want to go back to this and talk about real quick. Sales is about numbers. And if you learn those numbers, you're going to become free. Here's what I mean by that. A lot of us are here. Hey, I'm trying to get out of my job. I'm trying to do this part-time and get out of my full-time job. Well, what if you knew exactly what to do? If you had a roadmap of like, I can do this and I'm going to get to the results I'm looking for, right? There's a math behind this. And if you figure out the math in your business, it's going to be a little bit different for different businesses we're in. There's some, like I know the real estate math, the real estate agent math. I'm going to go over it with you. And if you know the math, now you're free because all I have to do is do it. Like there's no difference between me and somebody else. How I convert is my skill set, maybe how I say something, but if I do these numbers, I'm gonna get to the results, right? So when it comes to prospecting side of things, right? We look at, like on the agent side, we talk about how many people in your database leads into one closed transaction. Mike, Michelle, Janae, 20, right? There's 10% people moving in the United States at any given year. So if there's people in my database, 10% of my database is moving. If I capture half of that, that's 20 to 1, right? So everybody that's in my database that I work with, that I'm on top of mind with, that I'm contacting, calling, inviting to, I'm adding value to over time. They remember me, right? We talked about top of mind last month. I'm going to do business with them, right? Now, if you figure out how many conversations lead into an appointment, right? What is an appointment? It's going to be different in our businesses. In real estate is when I meet with a buyer or a seller where I discuss buying or selling real estate, or an investor. Wholesaling is when you go to someone's house to talk about buying their home, right? If you figure out what is an appointment in my business, how many conversations, how many doors did I knock into to get one appointment? How many conversations to get to one appointment? And then how many appointments to a closed deal? Now, hey, great. Every day I need to wake up and just do this. And once I get this many appointments, I'm going to get a deal. Doesn't that feel like freeing? So now trying to figure out how do I escape this, part-time thing, make it full-time, create predictable income just becomes the math, right? How many networking events I got to go to meet X number of people, and what do I do with those people? So what I'm saying is track everything, track who you talk to, how many people are in your database, how many emails you send out, how many appointments you go on, and then you can kind of see the math in your own business. On the real estate side, we know the math really well. On the wholesaling side, like you can look at those maths too. When you go to marketing, the math is like he mentioned 1%, right? So every 100 pieces of mail that goes out, I'm going to get 10 leads. Every 10 leads leads into one appointment. So it's like 100 to 1 appointments, right? Measuring your cost per lead, your cost per an accusation is going to be very helpful over time. Don't just spend the money, measure how effective it is. Do I turn it on? Do I turn it off? Is it a matter of being consistent with it with longer? Or am I just wasting my money? Because sometimes you got to, like postcards, you got to go for a year before you actually really see the results. You got to do other things besides just postcards. You got to be more visible in the area, maybe signs, maybe door knocking, not just postcards, right? So measuring those creates freedom. Anything around that, Mark?
Yeah, actually, I did that back in the 2008 to 2010 time period when there were a lot of foreclosures and short sales on the market. It was a lot easier to get deals from just listed property, right? I just had a spreadsheet. Offer. One got accepted, highlighting yellow. Offer. One got highlighted yellow. And towards like the bottom of the market, was spoiler alert, best time to make money. When everybody says it's awful, that's when you go and max the credit cards, pull all the home equity out. When everybody's talking about how terrible it is to own real estate, that is when millions are made, right? So at a certain point, when the market was really, really good for it, I think I got it down to like 70 to 1, 70 offers for one that actually got accepted. That ain't bad. It doesn't take that long to write it off. Like just go on every day. House came up, dirty house, offer. House came up, it says in the thing needs work, offer. House came up, it says in the remarks, handyman special, offer 70% minus construction costs. Just throw out a bunch of low offers in the right conditions. After a certain number of that, you'll actually get a hit. That's actually really kind of fun because when you get to that point, it's like, great, I know if I just put out enough activity, something actually will come from it. And you're right, it's incredibly freeing. It gets harder to do as markets kind of go up and down. But if we talk about recession enough, it'll happen one of these days, right? We're 15 something years in to the longest real estate expansion in the history of this country. Eventually that market will roll over. When that happens, I'm telling you, just start making offers and then keep track and watch those numbers go down. And then that'll be kind of exciting because then you'll know what to do. It's like you said, it's a roadmap. If I start making X number of offers by around this one, somebody's going to say yes. And that's a really fun feeling to know I can just go get a deal and go make money by doing activity.
If I look at the two sides of this equation, activity or effort versus results, right? I can't control the results, even though I'm always trying to I'm results driven. I want to get the results. You're gonna control this side of the equation by controlling activity, meaning in the beginning, it's just how many people I talk to, how many people I'm following up with, how many appointments I go on, how many offers I write, right? And over time, when I'm doing enough activity and I'm now trying to increase my results, I can focus on how effective am I? Am I effective in what I'm saying? Is my messaging effective? Is my offer that I'm making on my maybe postcards, is it the best? A/B testing it, right? But in the beginning, it's just, I need to have enough activity, and I will get better through activity too by figuring out what works or what doesn't work, right? So a lot of times we put pressure on ourselves of like, oh, I couldn't get a sale, or I couldn't do this. What's wrong with me? Versus I just haven't done enough activity, or maybe I don't know the math behind the business. So understanding any sales job you're in, there's a math to that. If you figure out that math, you can do it. Anybody can do it. So it's just a matter of figuring it out and not actually doing it. N, we're back at the zone. N for is nurture and grow your database. This is where we'll talk about some of those things. So you want to take a lead on that?
Yeah, so a database is where you keep your information, right? Anybody that watched Seinfeld, anybody take reservation? You gotta keep the reservation? Anybody can get somebody's information. What are you gonna do with it? You gotta put it somewhere. We talked about this a little bit more at the Dream Team discussion, but have a database, have a place that you put people's information that you then check in every once in a while, right? If you're gonna bother marketing, have somebody you can market to, craft some messages, put it in a MailChimp, a Constant Contact, Salesforce or something. You can reach out. Hey, I'm out here. I exist. I'm looking for this here. You know anybody? Let me know. Do that regularly enough. Those are your reps. Eventually somebody will raise their hand and say they want to work with you. But you have to actually have a database to work from rather than just randomly get up and start randomly calling people every single day, right? So we use Zoho, Z-O-H-O. Zoho is kind of like a sandbox of CRM and email marketing and project management, where they have all these little modules, and they'll sell you a module for literally anything: list building, emails, account function, all kinds of stuff.
So Mark uses that on the construction side. On the real estate side, we use Brivity as our CRM for customer contact. Go on, spell it.
B-R-I-V-I-T-Y.
That what he said. And then we use MailJet for our outgoing bulk messages, right? We use Brivity on like individual sites for keeping track, right? Now, the question of what CRM do I use is like the most common question every day asked. The best one you use is the one you're going to use. Start with one. And start with a cheap one. If you're new into the business, just start with something that serves this purpose. And over time, you can get more complicated and better.
Do your reps, right?
Yeah. The most important part is actually using it, right? Keeping track, having tasks. Like I think the best thing about a CRM is if it has tasks, where if I say, hey, I'm going to call everybody in my database at least once a quarter, right? And I'm going to add value to them. Hey, Mark, I'm going to pick up the phone. I'm going to talk about something with you. And 3 months from now, I'm going to put a task for myself to call you back. And if I do this for 3 months, 3 months from now, I wake up, I don't have to figure out what I'm doing. All of the tasks are there, and I just keep doing them, right? So I would use one that's helping me organize and figure out what I'm doing. So every day I'm not trying to figure out what to do today.
Thank you. Like it. All right. So
did you create digital content? So for when it comes to nurturing your database, being known as the expert or the person that's known for that niche, for that problem you're solving. Think of what content you can create, whether it's on social media, whether it's a marketing piece that I'm sending out. Content could be an email, could be a postcard that I'm sending out. Don't just think of it as creating a social media content. Content is something that I'm putting out in front of somebody that creates a conversation, that helps me create a connection, that helps me lead to conversion, right? So what content can I send out? Maybe it's a postcard as a wholesaler. Maybe I'm creating videos as a real estate agent, right? What am I going to be known as? What is my identity around that? And now just being consistent with that.
Create, get reps, put it out to the world, and eventually it'll bring you something back. Anybody heard of Gary Vaynerchuk? Gary V? He runs like a multi-$100 million marketing company. He used to spit wine into a glass on YouTube years by himself with like 5 people watching, and then 5 became 50, 50 became 5 million, 5 million became a marketing company eventually. You just did reps. You just find a thing that you're interested in, that's your authentic voice, and just do it and just put it out there. It doesn't have to be fancy. The more important thing is that you do it, and that you do it consistently, and that it be something generally of interest to people. And there's a butt for every seat. There's somebody interested in watching you swish wine and spit it out. It works on a big enough platform. There's something for everybody. So do your thing, but do it.
Empower the community. That's what it is. It used to be expand and grow, but empowering the community. I'm gonna go all 3 of them.
Be educate, right? Educate. I don't know what empowerment means, but I know what education means. Help people stuff. Be valuable. If you're interested in a thing, somebody else might be interested in it too. Talk about it. I talk about how you can renovate houses. I want to renovate houses. Oh my gosh, I've trained all my competition. There's so many beat up old houses out there. You're never going to buy them all. I'm going to get a few. It's okay. Talk to people about what it is that you want to do. Everything you know about it. Share what you've learned here with other people. It will work. It will get you into conversations. People will think about you. They'll know, like, and trust you because you give value to them. It will pay you back. Educate, right? Educate your community on the thing that you're interested in, and it will bring you business.
Attend and host events, right? I attended this meeting. Now I'm passionate about hosting great events. I want to talk about that a little bit later on, your identity when it comes to your zone. Hey, if I'm helping, whatever my zone was, if I'm hosting events around that, maybe as a wholesaler, I can put a seminar together of like, behind your mortgage, I can help you. I'm going to be at this Starbucks at this time. We'll see who shows up, right? You never know. Like if you actually put something together with a message that's helping somebody, the people that need that will come to you, right? Now, you got to be consistent with it. You got to keep that going. So think of what message is it? What thing can I do that I keep going deeper on? And I'm going to keep repeating. Engage local businesses, right? Whatever I'm focusing on, if it's hey, in the world of real estate, marketing, construction, or John is in property management, is a business to us. So there's enough to go around. We're going to network with each other. We're going to sponsor each other. But it might be a local business here in Reston. If I'm working in Reston area, it might be why business owners? Why business owners are a key part of this business plan, if you will. Who knows the most amount of people, right? Other business owners, right? So, for example, we did a short podcast we were doing around Reston, highlighting different businesses in Reston, and a couple of people we interviewed immediately turned around and said, hey, this person needs to sell a house, that person needs to buy a house. You create a connection with them, and they know people, and now they know you as that expert. They're just going to refer business to you, right? So you go out there with the intention of actually highlighting them and adding value to them, and they're gonna give business right back to you.
Wait, is that why you guys are doing a podcast for business? Oh no, shocker!
And it's working.
How about that? Talk to people and actually it gets you business while highlighting them, right? Nobody wants to hear about you. Ask people about their story. And it will eventually come back to you, right?
Yep.
All right. What else we got? We're empowering, we're educating. Highly targeted sales and marketing machine. Yeah, the more important thing than highly targeted sales and marketing machine is an authentic message of offering help or service to a person around a thing that you want to specialize in. Try to have a boundary of some kind of geographic area and or some kind of psychographic thing that you're trying to help. What do you want? I want rental property. Great. Who owns rental property? Landlords. How do I find landlords? I can look them up in the MLS. So they have to register as non-owner occupants in the tax records. I can buy a list. There are ways to find these people. Who do I want to get in front of? What message might interest them? What help can I be to these people? Even if it's not even asking to buy their thing, let's have a meetup around how to landlord and all the problems. We can have a bitch session about how annoying it is to have tenants, and every once in a while they can call you at 2 o'clock in the morning. Don't call me, they call John before he went, but somebody's got to deal with the phone call. Do that. Be valuable, add value, find your community, get in front of them, right? And then just give, and then every once in a while, it'll be your turn and someone will give to you.
As I mentioned, these slides were changed a couple hours before we started this. We had a different version, but the reason we know these stuff is like, doesn't matter what the slide is. We know it because we do it. A couple of stories I have around Zone, right? So when I started with CAZA 4 years ago, I met somebody, one of my friends met Rob through this network, and I started with this company. Well, when I first joined CAZA, we were really focused on gaining market share in Reston as real estate agents. Why? One of our partners had done tremendously well in Gainesville, really dominating that market, slowly working his way up to be the #1 agent in that market. He is as of last year. And we're like, okay, we know the playbook. We've implemented it. We've implemented it in different markets. When it comes to farming in real estate, that's what it's called. We know exactly what to do. Let's just now do the same thing in Reston. It didn't really go as planned, right? Because like, you know what to do, but when you're not passionate about it, right? Like this is zeroing on my target market, figuring out my brand, figuring out who I am, what's my value proposition. Well, I help sellers make the most amount of money when they sell their home in Reston. I help buyers, save the most amount of money. But when you look at Matt, he is the mayor of Gainesville. He loves it. That's what he is. Him and his family live there. Whereas me, I was more passionate about something else, right? Now, Rob, also same thing. We were both trying to do this together. But when we figured out, listen, our passion is actually helping investors because we're on this journey ourselves. Like I'm in this journey myself. So doing this is actually, yeah, I can do this all day, every day, never get tired. When the dominoes align with what you're trying to build, it becomes much more easier. So you got to figure out in your business, what is it you're building? What is your actual goal? And does it align, your life goal, does it actually align with what business you're trying to build? Once those align, really align, I know it sounds like a cliche, but it's not really work anymore. It really becomes like, you feel like you're on fire, right? So for me, it was figuring out, now I just want to be on the journey I'm on. I want to take other people on it. So we love Reston. We live in Reston. We do good amount of business in Reston. Probably one of the largest real estate teams is Reston. But now we're like all in the investor thing. So we have two divisions of hyperlocal geographical teams with people that are passionate about those areas, going after those areas, and with agents that are passionate about building wealth in their own lives, and they're helping other people do the same, right? So it's a journey they're on, we're on, and we're just helping other people do the same. So I think that's where Zone, doesn't matter what the slides is, understanding what Zone is, and just going deeper and deeper and deeper on it is really a business building activity.
I like, find your niche, right? Heard a couple of people talking about a niche tonight, while we're trying to keep up with what's happening. Midterm rental, people talking about midterm rentals, right? Why midterm rental instead of short-term rental? Anybody know the difference between midterm rental and short-term rental?
One reason is in DC, the short-term rental is very viable.
Why not?
Because you have 60-day limit, has to be override.
And with midterm rental,
You can get around that.
because it's more than, all right? So Airbnb, right? You can't do an Airbnb in Fairfax or Arlington or DC or Montgomery or maybe Prince George's. I don't know. I don't want to. For more than anywhere from 180 at most down to 60 days a year. And you got to have a license. They just don't want it. We have hotels in this town. They pay a lot of money. They have a very strong lobby. So Airbnb is not a thing here unless you want to do it illegally, which plenty of people do, and it kind of works, but they're working on it. They're collecting fines from people that they'll use to go and collect more fines to find people who are running illegal Airbnbs. Enter midterm rental. Who stays in a house for more than 4 days, but less than 360?
Squatters.
Other than squatters. Traveling nurses, a couple of hospitals in the DC metro area, right? You ever heard of that? There's a place called Furnished Finder, a website where you can find houses and people looking for housing. A lot of them are traveling nurses because they like to stay with one another because they have same schedules and lifestyles and interests and things, and they like the safety of being with one another. And so they'll pay pretty reasonable amounts of money versus a long-term rental, right? For stays of anywhere from 30 to 180 days on average, depending what their contract is. Who else? Who else uses rental property for more than 2 days, but less than a year? Traveling for corporations, right? We have a lot of corporations. Google's got an office building down the street here, and they're constantly bringing hundreds of people in and out of the market. Amazon building headquarters where they were at one point, bringing in hundreds of people, and those people are highly paid, and they've got to find out where they're going to live, but they got to live somewhere while they're finding out where they're going to live. Find the people who deal with corporate housing, and you might be able to rent your place for 30 days or more, no longer illegal according to any of the short-term rental laws that I'm aware of around here, but you will make a ton more money than you will just renting the thing out for a year, because they only need it for 35 to 6 months or so at a time, right? Anything else? That's a insurance, right? Somebody's has a problem at their house, and now they have been displaced and they have to stay somewhere else while their house is getting fixed up. That happens every once in a while. Find an insurance company, get hooked up with them and say, I have corporate housing. Professors come in and out, trade show people that run those kind of things. Flight attendants are in and out. We have multiple international airports.
You're a flight attendant, right?
Group homes, students, recovery houses. There are a lot of different niches for this midterm pays more than a long-term rental with none of the regulatory hassle of Airbnb and short-term rental and multiple week turnovers and cleanings and all that other stuff.
Rob just did
Really
a
interesting.
podcast with Andrew Lamb
Andrew Lamb.
somewhere in
I
California.
can't remember the name of his website. I wish I anyway, look him up. Andrew Lamb. He's an agent investor
Like
in
the Lamb.
Vacaville, California, who is focused on recovery houses. I think he's actually building a course around it. I think we're going to check out because it's really pretty interesting. You can do some really good things for the world and really provide an incredibly valuable service to the world and actually make money. It's a really interesting.
John, I forgot his last name, Baltimore does that too. Anyways, forgot his name.
Yeah, it's like
Anyway.
there's some business advisor, this course on that, like next Saturday.
Yeah.
You can register for.
There's some cool niches out there. Find the thing that resonates with you and be aware of what's happening. To come to things like this, where you can hear about midterm rental. For anyone here that hadn't thought of midterm rental before tonight, you're welcome. Now you know there's something out there besides sticking somebody in a house for a year or two at a time, or dealing with 10 turnovers a month on your Airbnb and getting savaged online because your fireplace didn't work. Midterm rental, it's a really interesting niche. Yeah.
Do you know if there's like a managing company for the rentals?
Sure. John, would you help somebody manage a midterm rental? Yeah. There you go. We have somebody starting a midterm rental management company. Yeah, the process is largely the same. Just a little more turnover, so there's going to be a little more handholding. All the more value that a property manager might bring to that type of deal, right? Yeah, our short-term rentals are, well, once again, I feel a little selfish. It's issue-free for me, but Kayla gets the fuck off. There are people who will manage your whatever kind of property, as long as the cash flow is there, then it should make sense, right?
Actually, that's a creative way of thinking about it. Is there are people maybe that you'll meet in this room or other networking event that you go to that are willing to do things just for the experience, right? So we have a company where we put the Airbnbs in, and there's different investors within the team that come and invest within that company, and there's somebody that will go and manage it for a little bit of money or a percentage of the equity. And now Mark doesn't have to deal with it. Somebody else is managing that day to day. And they're doing it for the experience, and they're doing it for a lot cheaper than an actual property, like short-term property manager would charge.
That is very true. We'll all kind of learn together, and somebody does some footwork in exchange for some equity return.
Yeah, so that's where building your team, always thinking creatively of like, there are people out there that are willing to do things if I just keep my eyes open for it.
I like it. What other insights? Yes.
Like another creative way that people are doing too is instead of doing the traditional house hack with long-term tenants, you can also try doing that with midterm rentals for that extra.
Got it. So
try it out if you want to.
house hack being like you live in the thing, right? And you have other space in the thing, in the house, in the building, in the multi-family, whatever it is, where you rent out the thing to hopefully pay all and maybe then some of what it costs you to live there. Now you're living for free. Maybe it's in the basement, maybe it's in a spare bedroom, maybe it's in a separate unit in your duplex. You figure out what works for you. But it's a pretty cool thing, and I highly suggest it for anybody. We have people who at least claim to be under 20. Young people, if you have young people in your life or anybody that you're sending out to school or to college, never give them on-campus room and board. You stick those dirty punks in a house somewhere and make them find 5 other dudes who rent, or ladies, to rent the other rooms in that thing, buy the house, make their parents sign the leases, get a ton of insurance, and then have that be the first thing that that child of yours learns about real estate investing. The other guys will pay for the house. You will end up with a couple $100,000 asset after a few years, if anywhere in a college town on the eastern seaboard. The kid will have a place to stay and they will learn about real estate investing. House hack every young person you know, because they'll live in any kind of condition. Make them live with roommates, but roommates that are paying their rent, right? Always.
That's so
house
true.
hack. Always house hack. What
So
else?
before we go into the networking, any questions, anything? Go ahead.
Ask, what does a good deal look like to you? So,
Yeah.
I've heard the 70% rule. Does that actually exist around here, or is that?
It can. Yeah, it can. The 70% rule is you should pay for a house, 70% of it's after repair value minus renovation, cost, right? So if the thing is gonna be worth, keep the math easy, $100,000 and it costs $20,000 to get there, 70% of 170, 70 minus 20 is 50. So I wanna pay $50,000 for the thing that I should clean up and sell for 100, and then just change the math to whatever your situation is. You'll find when you get over $500,000, you're shaving many hundreds of thousands of dollars off of that deal. Nice work if you can get it. I do deals for less than 70% of ARV minus renovation now, because it's just that much harder to find those deals, but it will be an issue of return on your risk. Return on investment is important. Return on risk, far more important. Manage risk, right? Buffett, what does he say? Job 1. Don't lose the money. So manage risk first, right? If you lose 10%, it takes you 20% to get back to even. Don't lose. Manage risk. So
like the
I would
deal
do a
we're
10%
looking at
deal.
in Ashburn, right?
Yeah.
Where, you were looking at the deal and it's like, I forget the exact number, but it was, under 40,000 profit. Do we want to put all this money in? Yeah, it's 40,000 profit coming out, but the answer is no, we don't want to do that. That became a really creative deal where we don't have to put money, but otherwise it was like, forget this. I can just take this money, invest it somewhere else in our business, make the money and not risk it, right? So sometimes when we look at it, we're just looking at how much money we're making versus actually turn it down, because there's too much risk for the amount of money. Even though we're in a good market, even though we can turn this around in 3 weeks, we're good, right?
Yeah, you have to understand your own personal risk profile. I have people bringing me stuff all the time, like, oh, it's a landfill. We put like 50 houses on it. We just have to get it rezoned and get the radioactive garbage out of the dirt and then hope somebody wants to buy something in Saskatchewan. But other than that, they'll make $1 trillion. Maybe, but I'd rather make 10%. Compound it, be safe, don't lose, hit singles and do them again and again and again and again. It's the slower way, but it's the safer way, and it's the one where I can sleep at night because I'm not doing crazy stuff. But maybe crazy stuff is for you. Everybody's definition of crazy is going to be a little bit different, right? But what's a good deal? For me, it's a good risk-adjusted return. I can make 5% of my money in a CD right now. Go to the bank and literally compound it 5%, which in a 9% inflationary environment, not so good. But it's better than nothing. And so why would I do a complicated, risky real estate venture for a 5% return when I can just go to the bank, right? So think risk, then think your profit is also your safety factor. So in a market where things maybe decline, if I'm gonna make 5% on this, but the market could shift 5%, then my risk reward delta is really even, right? It's net zero. I might make 10, I might lose 10. I'd really rather do a thing where I might lose 5, but I might make 20 and try to manage risk. And oh, by the way, if you're a day trader, it's the same thing. You can make money with anything as long as you manage downside risk. All investing is supply and demand and risk management. So we'll meet next week. We'll talk about oil futures or crypto or something, but it's the same thing. It is literally the same thing.
We're different stages of life. So 70% minus renovation cost is like when you have your rules, you don't want to go outside of your rules. But also I want you to think of dollar per hour of like your own time, right? Like if I'm using leverage, if I'm putting my money and there's little risk, but I'm not losing time. That's very different than, hey, if I'm gonna put time in this deal and I'm gonna now not put time in over here, it's gonna also impact my income, right? So figuring out as an individual, what is your dollar per hour, right? How much money I make annually, how many hours I work, I make this much. Every 100,000 is between $40, $50 an hour, right? So for me, a lot of times it's like, hey, I can go do another deal and it's like really high dollar per hour versus I'm going to go chase this new things that somebody's coming to me who's like, look at this great idea. But I'm like, that's a lot of time where I can just put the same amount of time here and make, what is the goal? I'm going to make money to create passive income. If the goal is passive income, so I just need to get to that the fastest versus deals are all still active income. Like I need to put time and effort into that, right?
Yep.
Another question off that, so if I have a deal in mind, I'm like bringing it to either of you, do you want that work done as much as possible beforehand to streamline that, or is that something you want to do in your own deal? Like I'm thinking of a house in Perk, 500, high fours to low fives, 4-bed, 3-bathroom, distress situation, person wants to let it go quick, like how much information do you want to make that streamlined process? Or are you gonna want to do that for each of your own deals? Does that make sense to the question?
Yeah, like how do you underwrite?
Like, if I'm bringing the deal, how do I just, don't make you go on a wild use case and actually bring you value?
Yeah, I need an address, preferably some photo of inside, outside, the more information about the physical building, the better. And then just basics around time, expectation, obviously numbers, if you have a thing to sell it, best I prefer that somebody know what they want for the thing. But yeah, with that, I can underwrite just about anything anywhere.
With us at Grid, couple of things, like if we're gonna buy this and flip this, want more information, and we're gonna do our own due diligence, as much as information somebody bring, like I still want to look at things, right? And also it might be, hey, what we're gonna do with this is when we do Grid, we have a large network of investors that we can put this in front of like 5,000 people, right? It might be like, hey, I'll JV this with you on the wholesaling side. I'll help you wholesale it versus not, let's buy this. So it also depends deal per deal, what Mark wants to do, what somebody else wants to do, things like that.
Yeah, before we forget, actually, don't we have slides of people where they can find links to stuff?
If you're looking to join our, no, we don't.
Really? There is. What's the next slide?
Did they add it? Oh, there you go. Actually, never mind. This is why our slides changed.
Yeah,
There they are.
stuff
So
exists.
if you want to hear about our deals, if you want to be on the mailing list when we have deals that go out, or just learn about more stuff about what Grid does, here's different places you can find us. Our Grid Reston chapter, if you want to make sure like you get the deals that I'm talking about, I gotta have your email address. So at the end of this, if you're interested in, hey, whenever you find a deal, also include me. Like Michelle has a deal that she talked about, she wants to sub to, things like that, right? Where you hear about it before other people do. Make sure I have your email address at the end of this.
Cool. What else? Is there more stuff? Grid events, Grid FB group. We got a YouTube thing. Oh yeah, free Grid Pass. So we got a fancy new website, all kinds of fun stuff on it. The old Grid Investor Network. But if you go to freegridpass.com, how much are we charging for this? Free.
Yeah, total money back guaranteed.
Nuts. All right. Check out the old freegridpass.com. I'll bet in exchange for an email address, you might be able to find some neat stuff there as well.
Go back to the previous screen.
Yeah, this is a couple seconds delay.
Free Grid Pass.
Yeah, it's coming. There you go.
That one, yeah, that's your FB, that's Facebook group. It's a closed Facebook group. We keep the Facebook group closed because if anybody gets really spammy and annoying, we can kick them out. Generally, they're not. It's just people talking about deals and looking for contractors and trying to find money. And we've got people in California and Tennessee and Florida and Maryland. Pretty cool group. You can find a lot of neat stuff going on the closed Facebook group. The YouTube is where you can find replays of these events that happen all over the country with the people that we know and like and do things the way that we do them. Everybody's got a different take. We've got buddies in Nashville that do this. We've got people in California that do this. We have good friends in Florida that do this. Their markets are different. Their take is different. Their contacts are different. Might be something that you might pick up from what they're talking about there. And you can find them all at the old YouTube. And then the events is where you'll find the actual other events. I'm partial to the HQ, but we're not the only game in town. We actually do this locally in Fairfax and Haymarket and Springfield in DC and Maryland, and within a half an hour drive here, there are a bunch of other people who, again, are friends of ours that do things the way that we do them, like to give as much as they ask. And so you may find some benefit, if you got any value out of this, in checking out other groups in the area that do a somewhat similar thing, with just a slightly different take on how they do their business. Yeah.
Which Facebook group is for the grid rest?
So
We don't have a specific chapter ones.
Yep.
Grid as a whole has one Facebook group, except Knoxville, that made their own.
Yeah.
So no, there's no Reston. If you want to be on the email list for Reston, that's specific to the deals we find here at CAZA or other things we come across. That is specific to Reston only. It's more of a newsletter and deals list, but there's no separate Facebook group. All of Grid is one group. Jennifer? Well, yeah, actually Capello is in West Virginia. Yeah, here and there things come up. You mean deals or Grid? Oh, I don't think we have a good chapter.
I don't believe we have a chapter in West Virginia.
We're looking at, yeah, perfect, awesome.
Great.
Yeah.
Yes.
I had a question on prospecting. What's your take on lists? Because everything is listed for you know, like pre-foreclosures or absentee owners. What's your take on that? And are there any worthwhile that I can explore?
Yeah, the value of a list will vary based on how many people have it and how distinct your message might be that you're sending to it. And of course, what kind of list it is. If you've got a list of, say, estate properties. And by the way, when someone passes and a property is involved in an estate transfer, that usually gets registered. Someone has to raise their hand, some dumb schmuck, and say, I'm going to manage all of this. Thankless job, but they have to end up in a public database somewhere. And if you get that list and you craft the right message, well, that's kind of a sensitive thing, right? I've written a few of those letters. Really sorry about why we're talking, but there do happen to sometimes be people who benefit from talking to someone about handling the real estate matters. If that's you and if you're interested, here's how you get a hold of us. If you're able to craft that message, that could be a really good list, right? So lists can be really good depending on your ability to get a message to that list that's going to be responded to.
So I would measure it, right? Humans in general, we take action towards what we believe gives us results. So if I think this is not going to work, I won't take any action and therefore I get nothing out of it and then reinforces my belief. But if I believe it gives me results, I'm going to go towards it. So what I would do is like, hey, I bought a list of 100, out of 100, 30 of them were accurate numbers. Out of 30, 10 of them I talked to, I get to be in front of one, and every 3 I'm for example. So if I can measure how effective is my list by consistently doing it and sometimes following up with somebody more than once, that's when I can tell myself, is this worth now consistently doing? Or is there something I can use my time better doing? In the beginning, prospecting is what we should do because it's free, meaning I'm chasing business. I'm going after lists. I'm going after any of these opportunities that are there. And over time, I'm building a business like Express Home Buyers. We're now attracting business to us. In the beginning, you're chasing business, but you want to make sure you create systems. We don't go really deep on these things, but we do talk about them over time in Grid, where you're building a business systematically that attracts business to you. It makes the phone ring rather than I'm always chasing. In the beginning, I will measure, I will chase, I will keep track of these things.
Yeah, and so back to list, to your point about prospecting, what makes it prospecting is that kind of personal time involvement. You're making calls more than sending out letters. That's marketing, it costs you money, you got to at least make a stamp, right? But a good list might be a pre-foreclosure list. If the market really changes a little, pre-foreclosure will become a thing again. Again, once it's public record, now you can get it on the list somewhere. And so once the house falls into foreclosure status, banks have to do certain things, notices have to go out, lists get generated, right? That list can be taken instead of just sending a postcard, you can go door knocking. This was a thing back when the market was terrible. Hey, very sorry, but I'm an investor, I buy lists, and I noticed this house came up on a pre-foreclosure list. I'm not sure if you're aware, you don't have to just deal with that. There are ways that a foreclosure can be slowed, stopped, dealt with, and maybe even in a way that actually puts some money in your pocket to give you some time and a way to kind of figure stuff out. That's the thing you might be interested in, let me know. It's also a pretty good way to have the door not answered or possibly slammed in your face, but that is a problem, right? Pre-foreclosure is a problem. That's an opportunity. You have the right attitude and ability to help that person help them understand that there are options. That's a way that you can take a thing that would otherwise just be a list, turn it into real prospecting and get into conversations and have discussions with people that are hard to have and that not a lot of people will do. But that's where a lot of money gets made, by getting to the person before they have to wait for somebody else's postcard to show up. That's why prospecting can work, because you're one-on-one knocking on doors and doing work.
You make money two ways in that, like it's either first person that shows up or the last person standing, right? First person shows up, they're like, yeah, I'm ready to do this, or a whole bunch of people go there and they're like, I don't want to deal with any of this, but one person just keeps showing up every month, every couple of weeks, and eventually that person will win. Most of the time, it's the last person standing.
Yeah.
What about back taxes and county records? Do you find that's a good place?
Back taxes, blighted list, Washington DC has a blighted property list. Once you let the grass get so high, you end up on the list and they jack your taxes, start finding you. So yeah, any of those can be good. You're looking for the problem and then the message that you can craft to the problem where you are providing the solution. But yep, that's exactly what you want to be thinking
I
about.
have a nitpicky question with that. So, whether you're giving pre-foreclosure lists or blighted lists, I'm not sure what that actually is, if you don't mind explaining that. But how do you say you do or don't have NLX access, but they're not listed besides pre-foreclosure search or knocking? How do you go about finding the owners?
True People Search is one of the best ways, yeah.
Yep,
What they're not.
It's about 30% accurate, True People Search. But go ahead.
Well, yeah, well, the first thing about blighted lists is in DC, it is called a blighted property list. Most major cities do the same thing. The bigger your city gets, the more likely they have some department somewhere, usually around building development or zoning, that's meant to go out and find all the broken windows and tall grass and decrepit buildings, and then try to tax those people into submission and making them do something, right? You end up on a list in most big cities, and that's a list you can look up and find. How to actually find those people then is not the private investigator, what's the guy called? Skip tracing. You need a skip tracing service. And so True People Search is kind of one, but the more you pay, usually the better the result for the skip trace. I haven't used one in a while. I don't know if anybody has a good, what's the good one? Batch lead. Yeah.
Batch leads does crazy things is now I look at like, again, look at it as a business. Like what's my budget around technology, all of these tools. Like in the beginning, I'm going to use truepeoplesearch.com. Like it's a lot of effort. I'm learning more. Like it's still going to get me the results. And over time, I can have all of these fancy tools. I can hire virtual assistants that do all of these things for me. But you gotta build it, right? So if you're not willing to do the legwork up front, you can throw money at it and see where it goes. But I would start with looking at it as a business and having its own budget.
Tell you what I'm not gonna do is the dang ringless voicemail. We have people who I think want to advertise ringless voicemail with us. I'm just not gonna do it because I find it annoying. I'm getting more of these stupid ringless voicemails. It's like the half ring or like not even a ring. And
Slide dial. I will do that all day.
They're trying to buy houses. It's annoying, but that's me personally, I guess.
Yeah. So if you measure slide dials of like how many voicemails are sent and how many callbacks you get, it's actually a really high, like for agents, I think that's a really good investment. But yeah, like you got to make sure you're not annoying people. I've heard good things. I haven't tried it myself, but I've heard high conversions based on it.
Yeah. But hey, different strokes for different folks, right? Find the thing that works for you. All right, what else? What other dots can we dot?
Yeah, I wanted to share a concept I learned recently that I thought was really interesting. For investors who want to invest and hold and increase their cash flow, buy an investment like a crappy house, single family, renovate it and rent it out as a room share, furnished. To furnish it and then rent it out as a room share. So there are 4 bedrooms, you can get 4 tenants by paying more. Actually, you probably double or more your cash flow on the particular single family home versus if you were to rent it to just one family.
Better yet, buy that property sub to or seller finance.
Yeah.
Better yet, get it for free.
debt service loan on it, so you can, buy hard money, renovate it, and then put debt service loan on it, and you have, very little investment, but you get a huge cash flow monthly.
Hmm.
So that's cool stuff.
And it could be good in this area because there are a lot of single people that
Mhm.
maybe want to live in a single family home, but don't want to be there by themselves. So it could be a good situation for this geography.
I like it.
Cool.
Cat
So,
house, people that like cats, make them live together, all that. Yes, sir.
Yes, so, there's a lot of different type of restaurants, usually got condos, townhomes, the bigger houses, all that stuff. You mentioned that you got like long-term rentals, you got short-term rentals, you got a median. So, how would you determine what type of house is best for what type of rental? Like, would a single family home be best for like short-term rentals, or is there like a system you use to determine what type of rental property is rented out in what manner?
So it depends on what we're talking about in the way of short-term rental. A short-term rental can be anything from, I'm just coming to town for business and I'm checking out Airbnb or VRBO, not VRBO, because usually geared toward long-term, but Flipkey, there are a couple other shorter-term rental places. Because I want a place to stay and maybe I can find somewhere cheaper than a hotel. That is still short-term rental. You can do it with a condo. You can do it with what's called arbitrage, where you rent the place, you don't even buy it. And then you just put it on Airbnb and try to get more per month in rental than you're paying the landlord that you're renting it from. All the way up to a vacation place. And vacation has a really broad definition. Some people like to vacation in teepees and yurts and like a stinking blanket under a hut. Look at Airbnb in the OMG category sometimes. Nutso stuff that people are making all kinds of money from. So what the thing is will depend on what your market is that you're trying to reach, for as to whether it's good or not. So for a traditional long-term rental, we have some condo property, but mostly it's in this area, town home, fee simple owned, not condo property, because condominiums have a lot of things that you can't control, right? When somebody else is doing the trash, cleaning the pool, and taking care of the driveways and all the other stuff, there are fees, and those are fees that generally you don't have much control over what they're going to be from one year to the next. You have to be very careful with condo ownership for a long term, because there are costs and things. Anytime that's a building more than 4 or 5 stories, it's going to be made of concrete. It's going to have a lot more expenses to it. And they might not have maintained it over the last 40 years. And one day there could be a $50,000 bill that everybody just gets. Like, oh, by the way, we screwed up. Please kick in $50,000 and this building's going to fall down. Be careful of that with a condo. So that's why I personally.
it's a lot more common than you
Easy,
think.
simple. It's a lot more common than you think. That's why I personally prefer single family townhome. There's just less to have to deal with, and as far as common costs. But for midterm and short term, it really just depends on your market. And a condo can be great. A condo in Reston for short-term rental, not so good, because in Fairfax County, you got a maximum of 180 days a year that you can do it legally. And even then you have a bunch of hoops you have to jump through. So it will depend a lot on your market, but a condo in Orlando may be a really good vacation rental property, right? So, yeah.
I sit on the board of directors for Military Association of Realtors. Been down to our legislation. There's a big, huge push for those that are kind of new to this industry. Other folks saying that still about this. There's a big flashback on short-term rentals in our communities that are HOA driven. There are rules within, there are overlays of rules. You just mentioned going to government websites to find out what the rules are for these short-term rentals. What's happening is that I live in Loudoun County. Loudoun County is put forth right now that they don't. Not only do they want to tell you what your zoning is, they want to tell you how to use your property. And if that passes, the impact of that are all those investors that have multiple properties in these communities that they won't be able to rent them out. Okay, so when you are doing investment, I just bring this up because it's such a hot topic right now, especially with the supervisors and political parties. Find out what the community allows and find out what the county allows and where you're looking to invest is what's the best. to protect yourself, not get into the table and realize you can't rent it out. So
They're trying to just, is it only short-term rentals they're trying to kill, or?
they're trying to control the usage of how you use your property and defining what that looks like. So there's a lot of conflict with what's on the books right now. A lot of people, for example, they don't want to have anyone with short-term rentals out in Western Loudoun County. Well, that's where all you go for wineries, right? Well, they have all these, there's no hotels out there because there's a ban on hotels. Nobody allows hotels to be built, right? So everybody wants to be natural, so they're really, everyone's opening up their barns, you can sleep above a horse barn, otherwise you can't do that. And you can, and now they're trying, county's trying to stop that, which means there's no revenue or no income, and now these people are stuck, so just really how to survive and drinking. They're not, exactly, so just be aware of that, especially on the investor side, I bring that up, because it's a really hot topic, especially down in Richmond. Not long term, it depends on the HOA. I live in an HOA that requires a minimum of 1 year. We do have violators in there. You get that, and then how do you enforce that, right? So just have to be clear. You just have to know your stuff.
There
That's the
are,
right question.
yeah, there are condominium buildings within earshot of where we're standing right now, where you can't even long-term rent. So yeah, when the building is controlled by an association that has deed controlled interest in the property, they can absolutely control what you can or cannot do. It's not just governments, it's your own building and homeowner association. Yep, you gotta know your rules. There's definitely some pitfalls to be aware of in renting property, for sure.
Okay, we're gonna get to the mark. Anything else before we
No,
wrap up here? Okay,
I gotta shut
so
up.
one other last thing is, we do a intro to real estate investing once a month in this office. Is last Saturday of the, I don't know what day that is this month, last Saturday of the month at 1 o'clock. So a lot of the questions that you might have around these things, we'll review, go back to the basics. We talk a lot about what is your long-term goals, and when it comes to like creating passive income, some of you have come to that. So that's on the books if you're interested. And now we're going to get to the fun part, the networking part, right? So I would say on that, what we want to do tonight is get to know each other, go after the person that you feel like you need to talk to, but most importantly, make sure everything we talk about here, putting them in your database, following up tomorrow, scheduling a cup of coffee, building that relationship, adding value, that we do all of that. So anything else before?
Yeah, the only thing that I would ask that maybe you consider doing for us, if you got anything of any value whatsoever out of this discussion, is just tell other people that it exists and that it's happening and that it's here. I can just keep moving the TV farther back. John will bring more pizza. It's okay. We can squeeze a couple more people in here. The more people that know that this exists, the more opportunities there will be for all of us. Networks work best when they're big, right? So that's what we're here trying to do, build a big network. We'd love to have more people, and I hope you got something out of it tonight.
Speaking of pizza,
So
if you're interested in being a sponsor for our next meeting, we need pizza.
there you go. So yeah, we'll be back here first Tuesday of next month.
And what's the topic?
That's a really good question.
We'll let you know.
TBD, I don't know. Come let me know what you want to talk about. All right, cool. Thanks, everybody. Coming up.